Do you want to know why some men make women chase them while others are only remembered as the nice guy who didn't work out? I'll tell you straight, women have weak points, and no, I'm not talking about superficial things like expensive shoes or good morning texts. I'm talking about those emotional, psychological, and behavioral cracks that make them vulnerable to a man who truly knows what he's doing. Most men walk through life having no idea how a woman works on the inside. They think that by being nice, honest, or thoughtful, they've already won. But that's like playing chess without knowing how the pieces move. If you don't understand the natural, social, and emotional weaknesses of a woman, you'll be manipulated, tested, and placed in the friend zone, and you won't even know what happened. And here comes the hard truth. A woman will never reveal her weaknesses to you, but she will use yours against you. That means if you don't have control, direction, and clarity about how the female mind works, you'll always play at a disadvantage. They're not the enemy, but they're also not as innocent as you've been led to believe. This video is not for the sensitive, not for men who believe in fairy tales, and not for those who think love conquers all. This is for men who are ready to understand female reality from a position of power, clarity, and strategy. And before anyone gets offended, this isn't misogyny, it's psychology. Understanding their weak points isn't about taking advantage of them, it's about not letting them take advantage of you, and most of all about relating from awareness, not confusion. Here's the truth. Women don't respect a man who doesn't understand them, and you can't lead, seduce, or maintain a relationship with a woman if you don't know the parts of her that even she tries to hide. Today we're going to uncover those parts. I'm going to show you the 10 most powerful and common weaknesses in modern women so you can identify them, use them wisely, and above all, never again be the man who gave everything and got nothing in return. Get ready, because after this video you'll never look at women the same way again. 1. Attention, her favorite drug. Most men still don't get this. For many women, male attention is more addictive than love. It's not a joke, it's not an exaggeration, it's simple psychology and constant ego validation. From a young age, women learn that their looks, their presence, and their feminine energy give them power. And how is that power measured? Through men's reactions. If you look at her, comment, reply quickly, like her posts, go out of your way for her, she feels like she's winning, even if she doesn't want you. Many men believe that if they give more attention, they'll stay in her mind more, but it's the opposite. The more available you are, the less you're worth to her. Why? Because you become predictable, boring, and she already got what she wanted, your energy. Your attention is like currency. If you give it away easily, it loses its value. And here's the dangerous part. Women don't always want your love. Sometimes they just want to know they could have it. That's the real addiction. Not you, but the emotional control they have over you thanks to your attention. Has it ever happened that a woman seeks you out, smiles at you, flirts with you, but when you start responding, she disappears? That's not confusion, it's unconscious strategy. She already fed on what she needed, confirmation that she can provoke you. She no longer needs more. She wasn't looking for a relationship, just her dose. Now pay attention to this. Social media is her training ground. She uploads a picture, not for you, but for the hundreds of men who react. And that is a source of dopamine more powerful than a real date. That's when you understand why many prefer digital attention over true love. Let's look at a very common case. A man starts dating a woman. She seems interested at first. He replies quickly, sends her long messages, fills her with compliments, makes her feel like a queen. The result, she gets bored, starts replying less, grows cold. He gets frustrated, doesn't understand what happened. What happened was simple. She already felt validated. She already had her dose of attention, and he, without knowing it, gave her everything without asking for anything. Even worse, he gave her power without demanding respect. A man who understands this learns to ration his attention, not as a game, but as a form of self-respect. Don't give away your focus, don't always show yourself available, and above all, understand this. If your attention is free, she won't value it. Because yes, for many women, male attention is their favorite drug, and you decide if you will be the dealer or the fool who gives it away without asking for anything in return. 2. Validation. She always wants to feel desired. One of the most ignored feminine weaknesses by men is this. A woman needs to feel desired constantly, not because she loves you, not because she respects you, but because her self-esteem often depends on it. Male desire confirms that she still has value, that she is still attractive, special, seen, and if she doesn't get it, she looks for it, even in places where she has no real emotional interest. Have you noticed how some women with partners still flirt with other men? Or how a woman who rejected you keeps posting provocative pictures right after you started pulling away? That is not coincidence. It is a search for validation. The problem is that most men fall into that trap. She doesn't want to be with you, but she does want you to keep wanting to be with her. Why? Because that tells her she can still be desired without giving anything in return. And for many, that's a direct dopamine hit to the ego. She may ignore you all day, but if she notices you lowered the intensity, that you stopped reacting, that you're not as available, she'll throw a signal, an Instagram story, a subtle hint, a message like, "Did you forget me?" But it's not love, it's a need for reassurance. This pattern even happens in stable relationships. Many women need to feel that their man still desires them like in the beginning, even if they don't put in the same effort. If they don't feel it, they get frustrated, disconnect, or start seeking that feeling elsewhere. A common example, she distances herself, no longer responds like before. He, confused, starts insisting, asking what's wrong, trying harder, but the more he tries to please her, the less desired he himself feels. Why? Because without knowing it, she's obtaining validation, knowing she can pull away, and he still chases her. Now listen carefully, validation isn't bad if you control it. It's not about never telling her she attracts you. It's about giving validation only when she also invests. The problem is when a man validates for free, without filter, without criteria, just because he's afraid of losing her. And in her mind, that automatically drops you to the level of all the desperate men who already validated her before. The secret is this: a woman values more the validation she has to earn than the one she is given effortlessly, not because she's evil, but because that's how her emotional psychology works. So if you want her to respect you, to value you, and to truly desire you, don't validate out of need. Validate by choice. When you understand that validation is like fire, it can warm you or it can burn you, you'll know exactly when to use it and when to withdraw it. 3. The emotionally unavailable man obsesses her. Although it sounds contradictory, what attracts many women the most is not the man who makes them feel secure, but the one who makes them feel uncertain. The emotionally unavailable man doesn't make it easy. He doesn't give himself away with the first message. He doesn't expose his entire inner world in a single conversation, and that, instead of pushing women away, drives them crazy. Why? Because it awakens something very powerful in them, the challenge. Many women, especially those who are used to receiving male attention effortlessly, feel an almost obsessive attraction to the kind of man who isn't so easily conquered. And this isn't about being cold or rude. It's about being selective, reserved, focused on yourself. The emotionally unavailable man doesn't need to talk about his feelings all the time. He doesn't seek approval. He isn't waiting to be loved. And precisely because of that, she wants to be the one who makes him open up. They see him as a mystery to solve, as an emotional trophy they want to win, because deep down many women carry this internal belief: if I can make this difficult man fall in love with me, it validates my worth as a woman. What's interesting is that the more emotionally unavailable you appear, the more emotional she becomes. She starts investing more, thinking about you more, imagining scenarios, because desire is built in the space, in the tension, in the uncertainty. And here is where many men get it wrong. They believe that if they don't reveal everything, if they don't say what they feel right away, they will lose her. But the opposite happens. When you don't give everything, when you don't fully open up, she starts imagining, and what she imagines is often far more powerful than any truth you could tell her. So if you're a centered man who doesn't give away his emotional world too quickly, you're not being distant, you're being desirable. And for many women, that's a weakness they simply cannot resist. 4. She needs drama to feel alive. Even if many men don't want to accept it, there's something they must understand once and for all. Many women are drawn to drama. They provoke it, they feed it, and they even need it in order to feel that the relationship is alive. For them, drama is pure emotion, it's intensity, movement, chaos disguised as passion. When everything is going too well, too calm, with no conflicts, no highs or lows, many women feel like something is missing, no spark, no adrenaline, and so without realizing it, they create drama to feel again. But this is where most men fail. Instead of recognizing the game, they take it personally. They react, they get upset, they try to justify themselves, they fall into the emotional trap, and worse, they think the problem is theirs. No, brother, the problem is that she doesn't know how to regulate her emotions without conflict. And you feed that cycle every time you get caught in her games, her mood swings, her pointless provocations. Here's the tough truth many need to hear. Stop trying to calm everything down. Stop trying to be the emotional savior. She doesn't need a therapist. She needs a man who won't bend to every storm she creates. Because if you don't set boundaries, if you don't show through your attitude that you won't dance on her emotional roller coaster, she will keep turning up the drama until you lose control. And once you lose control, you lose respect. And once you lose respect, you already know how that story ends. It's time to wake up. Understand that drama is not always an emotional accident. Sometimes it's a test, other times it's a sign of boredom, and many times it's simply an internal need to feel something. Even if that something is chaos, you are not here to feed that game. You are here to stay calm, to lead with presence, and to show that you won't be dragged into emotions that aren't yours. When she sees that you don't react to her drama, she starts to admire you, because deep down what a woman respects is not the man who plays along with her, but the man who keeps his power even when she loses control. 5. Female competition consumes her. One of the most invisible weaknesses of women to men is this. Women don't compete for men, they compete for validation against other women. And when that competition is triggered, her desire for you often doesn't come from who you are, but from what you represent socially. This happens more than you think. A woman may not be interested in you at all until she sees another woman is. She may ignore you for weeks, but if you post a story with an attractive woman, suddenly she remembers you exist. Does that sound familiar? That's not a coincidence. It's part of a deeper emotional dynamic. Many women constantly compare themselves with each other, and if another woman gains the attention of a valuable man, it activates her sense of competition, because it's not just about having the man, it's about beating the other woman. And here is the mistake many men make. They believe that being exclusive from the beginning makes them more attractive. But if a woman knows that nobody else wants you, that there's no competition, that you only look at her as if she's the only option in your world, instead of feeling special, she loses interest. Harsh but true. Now, this doesn't mean you should play with women or create fake jealousy. No, what you need to understand is that your perceived value increases when you're a man admired, respected, or desired by other women, not because you're a playboy, but because you project real value, options, and your own life. When a woman perceives that other women see you as valuable, that unconscious impulse activates. If they all see it, why don't I? And then she starts looking at you differently. You don't need to say anything. Just live your life, surround yourself with feminine energy, show confidence and let her see, without explanations, that you're not a needy man, but a chosen man, because in this game, many times she doesn't want you because she truly desires you. She wants you because she can't stand the idea of another woman having you first. 6. She can't stand rejection, even if she causes it. This may sound harsh, but it's a truth very few men dare to see. Many women can reject, but they cannot tolerate being rejected, even if they started it. Think about it. A woman can ignore you, leave you unseen, make you feel like you're not enough. But if you step back, if you decide you don't want to stay there anymore, if you show genuine indifference, something shifts. Suddenly, her ego activates, and what looked like indifference turns into discomfort, confusion, irritation, or even a desire to win you back. Why does this happen? Because for many women, rejection is not something they expect to receive, it's something they're used to giving. Society, social media, constant validation have created an environment where they're the ones being chosen, and when you suddenly show that you have the power of choice and that you're not choosing her, you deliver an emotional slap to her ego. Rejection, when it comes from you, doesn't hurt only because of you, it hurts because of what it represents. I'm not enough for him. How is that possible? And this becomes even stronger if she was the one who rejected you first, because in her mind, you were supposed to stay there waiting, begging, available in case she changed her mind. But when you don't, when you take control and walk away without drama, without resentment, without begging, she enters into conflict. You flip the script, and you know what often happens. She comes back timidly, with a silly excuse, a casual message, a reaction to one of your stories. But behind that, there's no love. It's a wounded ego. She wants to check if she still has power over you, and if you fall, she loses all respect again. Picture this typical scenario. She pulls away, tells you she's not ready, or that it's better to stay as friends. You respect that. You don't insist. You simply disappear. Weeks go by, and suddenly she texts you a hey as if nothing happened. That's not magic. It's ego. She realized you're no longer there, and even though it was her decision, it unsettles her emotionally. This is where you must stay firm, because if you validate a woman who already rejected you, without her showing any real change, you're teaching her that she can lose you and get you back whenever she wants. And at that point, you become her emotional toy again. Remember, nothing hurts a woman more than being ignored by the man who once desired her, and you decide whether you're that strong man or the one who puts himself back on a silver platter. 7. She falls in love with the man who doesn't need her. Here's a truth that few men understand, and many reject because it makes them uncomfortable. A woman feels more attracted to the man who doesn't need her, not the one who chases her, not the one who worships her endlessly, but the one who can live, grow, and shine with or without her. And you know why? Because that kind of man represents emotional freedom. He is not enslaved by affection. He doesn't give himself away out of anxiety. He doesn't try to fill emptiness with someone else's love. That man is whole, and that, even if they don't say it openly, women deeply admire. Most men think that being romantic, thoughtful, and attentive all the time makes them more attractive. But when you do it out of need, out of fear of losing her, out of the belief that she is all I have, what you project is not love, it's dependence. And that kills desire, because feminine desire is not born from what you give, but from who you are without her. When she sees that you don't fall apart if she doesn't reply, that you don't die if she doesn't answer, that your world doesn't stop for her, something shifts. She starts to feel curiosity, to wonder why you don't need her like everyone else does. And that's where real attraction begins. The man who doesn't need a woman to feel valuable becomes magnetic. Not because he's playing games, but because he lives his life with purpose, and that makes him rare, interesting, hard to forget. Imagine this: a man meets a beautiful woman. He treats her well, yes, but without exaggeration. He has his routine, his goals, his own space. He doesn't text her all the time. He doesn't cancel his plans for her. At first, she feels confused. Why isn't he chasing me like the others? But the more time passes, the more she wants to know about him, the more she gets hooked. Not because he chased her, but because she realizes he's different, he doesn't need her. And for a woman, that is more irresistible than any compliment. Many men don't understand this. When you don't need her attention, she begins to seek yours, because the real value isn't in what you give her, it's in what you're not willing to lose. Your dignity, your time, your energy. And when you are so focused on yourself, so firm on your path, so connected to your purpose, a woman notices that if she doesn't add value, she doesn't stay. That attitude, without saying a single word, screams something every woman respects. I'm not here because I need you, I'm here because I choose you, and that difference changes everything. If you made it this far, you already know something most men never dare to accept. Women don't fall in love with the nicest man, nor with the most generous, nor with the most devoted. They fall for the one who knows who he is and doesn't break down in front of them. Yes, it sounds harsh, but it's the truth. And the reason so many men fail with women isn't because they're unattractive, nor because they're unlucky. It's because they live from need, from weakness, from fear of losing, and a woman can sense that from miles away. Look, the man who puts a woman above his dignity has already lost. The one who stays silent just to avoid upsetting her, the one who tolerates her tests, her games, her ego, thinking that will make her fall in love, becomes invisible. because nothing kills attraction more than a man without inner strength. And here comes the most controversial thing I'll say today. Get ready. You don't break a woman's heart by being cruel. You break her ego by being strong. And that, even if they don't admit it, drives them crazy. Because deep down, they're not looking for a perfect man or an emotional servant. They're looking for a man who doesn't tremble in front of them. And very few men are like that. You decide which side you're on. You can keep being the nice guy who gives everything hoping for something in return. Or you can become that firm man, hard to manipulate, who doesn't beg, doesn't chase, and yet is the one every woman remembers. Now I'll speak to you directly. I want to know your story. Tell me in the comments below which of these weaknesses you've seen in action. What happened with you? What was your mistake? What was your victory? You're not alone. Every man goes through this. I read every comment, I reply, and if I can help you, believe me, I will. This space is about opening our eyes, about stopping living in weak mode, about building together something nobody ever taught us, to be real men in an era that wants us submissive. Don't forget to subscribe if this made you think. Give it a like if any part of it made you uncomfortable, because that's where the truth you needed most is hiding. And remember, it's not about hating women, it's about understanding how they work so you stop losing yourself just to please them. See you in the next one.